Well, the virus has now killed more than 100 people in China, and new cases have been confirmed around the world.
So you don't want to frighten the American public.
France and South Korea have also got evacuation plans.
But you need to prepare for and assume
strongly warning Americans to avoid all non-essential travel to China.
That this is going to be a real serious problem.
France, Australia, Canada, the US, Singapore, Cambodia, Vietnam, the list goes on.
Health officials are investigating more than 100 possible cases in the US.
Germany, a man has contracted the virus.
The epidemic is a demon, and we cannot let this demon hide.
Japan, where a bus driver contracted the virus.
Coronavirus has killed more than 100 people there and infected more than 4,500.
We have to prepare for the worst, always, because if you don't and the worst happens.
War Room Pandemic. Here's your host, Stephen K. Bannon.
This is Jack Maxey sitting in the catbird seat here at the embassy on Capitol Hill for another one of our Saturday episodes. Today's episode 300. The Plague, the Flood, the People. The CCP confronts its doom. We'd like to make a shout out to some of our broadcast partners. John Frederick's Radio Network, Newsmax at Night, America's Voice News, and Blown Through the Chinese Firewall by G News, translated into Mandarin every single day. Back to you, Steve.
You know, Jack, also on podcasts, I think we're getting close to 12 million. That's why we're so honored to want to do the 300th broadcast with Miles Guo and all our friends that listen to us in the real-time translation that GTV does in Mandarin. And we clearly know that state media is watching because their heads blown up right now, saying that Pompeo is going to go to the trash heap of history that Steve Bannon's already on. So we know we're getting to him every day. Jack, you brought up something very good. Your analysis and coverage on this show from the very beginning, not just about the pandemic, but you have such a bond with Lao Beijing and with the old 100 names, the Chinese people. You had mentioned that one of the key things back in the spring, or actually before the spring, still in the winter, that they had to get the people, the farmers had to get out to the fields to do the spring harvest. Now, the CCP just given us some statistics about how they turned out. Can you give Miles an update on what the CCP's saying? And I want Miles to respond.
This was from Xinhua News today. They said there is a bumper harvest in the offing. China's summer grain output reached a historic high of 142.8 million tons this year, up almost 1% from last year, according to the National Bureau of Statistics. The record-breaking harvest has paved the way for another bumper year. Now, myself, Miles, I don't believe this, but I'd like to have your expert opinion, especially considering they've been suffering droughts in the Northeast, which is the central location for most of their grain harvests, and now we have the flood on the Yangtze. But I'd love to have your expert opinion, Miles.
Thank you, Jack. I thank you. Follow this the point. You are worried Chinese is the angry disaster. Hungry disaster. This the Xinhua News always 100% lie. Same the Long March. The 1 year, they no food. They are Chairman Mao walk New York, go Beijing, go to New York, then walk back. This is the disaster lie, right? Same the food. China this year must be hungry disaster to happen. This is the area followed. The followed area is the Zhejiang, Jiangxi, Chongqing, and Nanjing. This area more than 50-60% fruit, all the China is from there. Also very important, if they have a disaster, if something happen, south side cannot go to north side because the water catch all the China have gave China two parts. So very difficult. South side go to north, north go to south. This transaction is stopped. That's why it's the 1998, also 1958, China gave 40 million people die, got another time.
You mean for a famine, 40 million people died?
40 million died. My uncle, before the army, is work there. My uncle told me, case, how do you think, how many people died there? I think 40 million. My uncle said, no, double.
80 million?
80 million.
80 million starved to death during the Great Famine?
This is why Cultural Revolution, they see Even this time, 80 million people die and 40 million people die. You know, CCP, the Xinhua News talk what? This year, 大丰收, how to say? Great harvest.
Great harvest.
Every day, you know, the pork have 10 baby. Hold on. 1 acre, they have 10 tons. You know, this is the fruit. That's crazy. That's Xinhua News.
You're saying just lies.
100% lie. You go back, Jackie find out China another disaster time. Xinhua News, same with the word, same with the member. That's a totally lie. That's why I need to take down the CCP. That's why CCP is so stubborn to lie, but the American trust.
Jack,
that's the trouble.
Jack, I'll give you a second to pull up that Lancet thing where I asked Miles another question. Why is it we didn't really get much real information? I mean, right now, I think the total casualties out of all China are 3,000 or 3,500, or it's a very small number from the pandemic. Yeah, in the United States, it's 140,000. There's hundreds of thousands throughout the world. Why is the West, and if you look at CNN, they always put the number up from China. They never give an asterisk. They just assume every number, you know, whether it's Bloomberg Terminal, whether it's the Wall Street Journal, whether it's the Financial Times, whatever the business agency in China, whatever number they put out, we just automatically accept. Why is it on the pandemic, particularly? Do you think the CCP was lying about the number of people infected in China and the number of deaths?
Yes, sir. Very easy. All this lie is fake. That's why everything, the fundamental reason can happen in China is get the CCP kidnap all the Chinese 1.4 billion people 70 years is by America. One, you give the dollar. One, you help CCP build a called firewall.
The technology.
You look at CNN.
We give them the cash and the technology.
Yeah, you look at the CNN, you look at America, everything, the data is from the CCP government. You know, there's a Ponzi schemes.
Ponzi scheme?
Ponzi schemes. But you look at American before, as a few years ago, Ponzi schemes in the Manhattan. I know the guy in the apartment.
You're saying the 2008 financial crash was all American Ponzi schemes.
Why? All the genius people, the rich people, they get cheat, right? Why? You are greedy. You are too naive because you're too greedy. That's why CCP give you every data you trust. CNN, any media. Oh my God.
And nobody questions it. They just take the data.
That's
and
why
it.
coronavirus in China, how many people die? Where from? And the economy, also the fruit. Nobody give you truth. That's the CCP, the evil. They now do same thing in the EU country. They try to block all the American eye. They they attack Pompeo, attack Steve Bannon, attack Peter Navarro, attack Tom Cotton, attack Rubio, and Nancy Pelosi. Nancy Pelosi. All the people. You know why? They fear you. They want to move your eye, go to direction there. They don't want you to focus the truth, the news. That's why they worry. Sir, that's a very good point. Why America no solution can find out any truth? You can. Only you can. Why American don't action? Easy take down the firewall. Because American help CCP build a firewall. Even you find out true data, true member, you are totally changed.
One of the most fascinating things I thought about the Nixon library speech is Hugh Hewitt. Hugh Hewitt's one of the top radio guys, conservative guys around. He's the president of the library. He helped set it up. He had Pompeo had a quote in there that I think he and Hugh Hewitt had talked about. Nixon had written an article in Foreign Affairs about a year, I think, before coming to power as president, talking about China and change. And then later on, many years after he left the presidency, he looked back over what he had helped do about opening up China, but about really, doing it with the Chinese Communist Party, with Mao Zedong and Zhou Enlai. And he said, I have a concern. Did we create a Frankenstein? Was this a Frankenstein monster? Because Nixon saw at the time it was American trade, it was American dollars, it was American technology. What Miles, when I first met him, Miles said, listen, what has been created in China is really a creation of the West and principally the United States. You've given them the money, You've given them and allowed them to steal the technology, and you've let them have access to the biggest market in the world. And what Miles would say, he goes, guys, back when you allowed them to come in the Clinton administration with Clinton and Bush, with World Trade Organization, most favored nation status as trade, all that, their economy was half the size or 1/3 the size of Japan's. Today is essentially equal or very close to being equal to the United States. That is all American money, all American jobs that did this. This was all financed by the West. Jack, do you have the Lancet piece, the editorial that's making excuses? One of the things that we found most fascinating, Miles, as we prepared for this show, virtually nobody in the West is challenging the CCP at all on any of the data. You know, they're on President Trump nonstop. Some people on the right are saying these numbers are phony. They're all blown out of proportion. There's not that many deaths. There's other people on the left that are saying Trump's undercounting. There's more people dying. This is a total undercount. They're on Trump nonstop from both the left and the right that the numbers are not right. Every day there's TV shows about it. They're arguing about it. They're getting his professionals up there. They're saying you don't know what you're doing. Trump's not handling this correctly. But the CCP's numbers are absurd just from any rational analysis. But it's never questioned. Jack, do you have the Lancet piece that you can quote from, or just give us a summary of what Lancet's been saying?
I do. Lancet came out with an editorial yesterday called COVID-19 and China, Lessons and the Way Forward. And what is really kind of frightening about this, Steve, is they just accept everything that China has said on face value and declare them essentially the best country in the world in terms of fighting the COVID-19. And they say things like China's response shows the importance of domestic research and public health capacity. Huge investments have left China much better prepared for COVID-19 than for the severe SARS-1. And then they say that Western nations could take a real lesson by learning about how China had dealt with it. They said a second lesson is that a robust foundation of research cannot guarantee effective control without strong top-level political commitment to use science to tackle the outbreak. And then they speak about how the government came in decisively to lock down the city, how they created tent hospitals right away, and that was possible because the Chinese government had control over it. Third, they say that achieving rapid and effective implementation of control measures requires broad community engagement. Now, they recognize that many of the control measures done by China would not be acceptable in the West, while at the same time still lauding them. They say there are tensions between freedom and security that each country has to reckon with, but China's experience shows the importance of community solidarity and what it can achieve. And then they say that in order to tackle global health emergencies, we have to cooperate with China. They mention the UN and other global bodies. To me, it seems like a giant whitewash for what we in the know was a total disaster on the part of the Chinese Communist Party, who denied the world for more than a month knowledge that a dangerous virus was loose and then allowed people to travel around the world carrying that virus. They really have blood on their hands, Steve, and to see Lancet now supporting them is shameful.
Let me ask you one question, Jack. Did they have any mention at all of the Taiwan CDC contacting the World Health Organization? Is there any discussion about now the World Health Organization saying that China misled them? Is there any mention in the Lancet at all of the misinformation campaign or all the bad decisions that the CCP made at the beginning of this pandemic?
Not a single mention, Steve. Not a single mention.
Okay, this is why this is so important. Lancet's just not any journal. It's not some blog talk radio show. It's not the War Room. It's not done in some basement of some Georgian mansion in the West End of London. It is one of the most respected journals in the world as far as medicine goes. It's principally, I think, the most respected journal in the United Kingdom. They have come off their game
Steve,
in the last couple of months to have editorials.
Take us out if you like. We're about to end here, Steve. We'll come back to this.
I tell you what, why don't we'll come back and finish this in a minute.
We'll come back and we'll talk about this. Lancet has had quite a few political opinions over the last several weeks. They talked about replacing Jair Bolsonaro in Brazil and also Donald Trump. Pay attention, people. This is a full spectrum war we're in.
Everyone loves the benefits of compression socks, but they're just so hard to get on. Until now, introducing the all-new Copperfit Energy Socks, redesigned for the first ever easy on, easy off fit to help reduce swelling, relieve tired, achy muscles, and provide energizing support. A new blend of stretch fabric for the most comfortable, easy on, easy off compression fit.
Being a SWAT commander, we train to win. The Copperfit Energy Socks, they didn't feel like other compression socks. They totally exceeded my expectations.
Our most powerful copper-infused fabric, woven into our easy-on, easy-off compression sock to help reduce swelling discomfort from prolonged sitting or standing.
I'm 38 and a half weeks pregnant. Copperfit Energy Socks worked beautifully.
Extra support around the arch and ankles for increased support and relief of muscle aches and pains.
I'm so excited about these socks. I'm so much more energized to go do things after a day of work. They just slip right on, yet they still have that same compression that you want.
A soft cushion footbed for all-day comfort.
I'm on my feet at least 9 to 10 hours a day. These were fantastic. A lot of compression socks are a little too thin, especially for what I do. With Copperfit, I could wear these every day.
Feel more energized. Feel more active. Just feel better.
They just hug your leg. It relieves all the pressure that you have. I have so much energy, I can go, hey, you want to dance?
The first ever easy on, easy off compression sock. The most comfortable compression sock you will ever wear. Get your Copperfit Energy Socks now online at GetEnergySocks.com for only $19.99 or call 1-800-978-1224. Order right now and we'll include a second pair of compression socks free.
I've never felt anything like it before.
No more pain, no more swelling, no more achy, tired feet.
I can never go back to regular compression socks again.
Don't settle for ordinary. Ask for the original by name, Copperfit Energy Socks.
Frustrated with heavy rubber hoses that always get tangled and easily kink? Introducing the Bionic Flex Pro hose, the super strong, super tough hose that's ultra light as well. Run over an ordinary hose and it'll easily burst, but the Bionic Flex Pro hose stays intact no matter what runs over it, because its reinforced drag-resistant commercial-grade outer polyester weave makes it tougher and stronger than ever. And its solid brass fittings are crush-proof too. Ordinary hoses kink easily and stop working, but the Bionic Flex Pro hose never kinks. It just keeps flowing strong. And while regular hoses easily get tangled, the Bionic Flex Pro hose is tangle-proof. You can get the 25-foot Bionic Flex Pro hose for just $19.95 with free shipping. But wait, order today and we'll upgrade your order to a 50-foot Bionic Flex Pro hose. Just pay a separate fee, and shipping is still free. Go now.
Call 1-800-313-8062.
War Room with Stephen K. Bannon. Here's your host, Stephen K. Bannon.
This is Jack Maxey here in the War Room on Capitol Hill. I've got Stephen K. Bannon, Miles Guo as our special guest today. We're doing a Saturday episode, July 25th, year of our Lord 2020. The plague, the flood, the people. The CCP confronts its dome. Before we went to break, we were talking about this article in The Lancet, which really is a kind of running dog commentary for the CCP. And for Steve and others and our listeners, it should be shocking to see a medical journal become actual mouthpiece for a foreign government. And some of the things that they said in the article are, that we didn't get to, I'd like to read now. It says in ending, China is facing legitimate questions in many areas of its domestic and foreign policy. But when it comes to COVID-19, scapegoating China for the pandemic is not a constructive response. They says that, quotes China's Foreign Minister Wang Yi, has said that globalization needs to be more inclusive and beneficial to all, that multilateralism must be safeguarded and promoted even more firmly, and that the global governance needs to be reformed and improved where it's lacking. It sounds to me like Lancet is just revealing the talking points for the CCP. Steve, back to you.
Jack, it's pretty stunning. You know, Lancet is just not any journal, as we said. It's probably one of the most revered and respected medical journals in the United Kingdom and the world. And you're right, they've had editorials, which traditionally they haven't had, calling for the removal of Donald Trump, calling for the removal of Bolsonaro in Brazil, two populist nationalists, and now you've got him quoting the foreign minister of the CCP talking about global governance and talking about globalization and the wonders of it after they let this virus out into the world. Before we wrap up this section on the plague, I got to ask Miles, you've lived all over the world when you were in mainland China, then you lived in the United Kingdom, the United States when you left. How can an institution as prominent as Lancet in the UK take the exact party line of the CCP? What has happened to our institutions in the UK, in the United States, that they're brazen about taking the CCP's party line, regardless of the facts? They don't even want to talk about the facts. They take a pure propaganda line.
Thank you, sir. That's the same answer. Driven by profit,
by money.
Perfect. You ask this is the called One Thing. This is the magazine. Also, another is the magazine top 5. Okay, Nature. You ask all the magazine last 8 years how much money from the CCP. That's easy. Okay, even you get the money from the CCP, you cannot talk about everything. Now, very easy. You can know the truth. We are all the world now locked down, and maybe many people is die. We are now only going to talk where from the coronavirus. This is from nature and from man-made, and from the lab and from the, it's the from the animal. That's we need to talk. Why this top 5 magazine? Nobody talk where from, where this is nature as man-made. That's all above all. Fundamentally, we need to find out the reason.
Okay.
That's the CCP run the dog.
Okay, running dog. But here's what I want to say. If you talk at Lancet or any of the big institutions, they say Steve Bannon is just trafficking, although I don't say it's from a weapons lab. They say you're trafficking in conspiracy theories. They said Miles Grove's crazy because he hates the CCP. None of the major institutions are focused on this at all. Mike Pompeo continues to say, hey, we have incontrovertible evidence now that WHO was a wholly owned subsidiary of CCP and wasn't even looking at it. We have many whistleblowers that have come forward and saying, hey, it came out of the lab in Wuhan and it's tied to these gain of function experiments. But you have the intelligence services with leaks coming out, but they're saying, hey, we just hate the CCP so much we're trying to blame them. So what do you think the solution is? If you have Lancet, Nature, these other ones really being useful idiots for the CCP, how do you think we actually get to the truth? How is the world going to get to the truth? And do you think we can find a solution for this pandemic until we get the truth?
That's why, sir, this is very easy. All the magazine, also WHO, we don't need to talk anything, just CCP give the truth. You just open the country, the door, give America and UN, all the iceberg go to China, find access, open access.
You're saying full access, full access.
Yeah, full access. That's easy.
Why?
We don't need to talk this from the magazine, One Cent, Nature. That's too bullshit. You don't need to talk Stephen K. Bannon crazy, Miles Grove crazy. You just ask CCP. You are solved any problem. We are solved the coronavirus problem, CCP virus problem. You give me the data at the asset. This can solve the problem only one reason. That's why is Pompeo speech is great leaders. Everybody saying him is get the point. We want the CCP give us asset. We can solve the problem. Assets, right? That's easy. So this is total bullshit. You don't find out who is the process game, the founder. You just bully this guy, blame this guy. You need to say who is the founder, is the coronavirus, CCP virus.
Is the CCP, you just heard what the foreign minister said in Lancet. He's just dismissing it as, hey, we're the good guys for global governance. Mike Pompeo and others have asked that we have to have access immediately. Do you believe that voluntarily the CCP will ever agree to allowing full access by an international consortium to go into the labs, talk to the technicians?
You're too high, sir. Impossible. Impossible. Okay? CCP, 2 years ago, 3 years, I'll talk about this. The only one is the priority. Take down Trump president, don't win the 2020. Use American dollar, weakens American economy. There's warfare. This is a magazine. It's a warfare one part. It's propaganda.
Information
war. Everybody is the kids can know this. That's why America need to know. You only one action, and find out CCP viruses. This is where from. Give your asset, then you find out the truth. Can solve the corona or CCP virus problem. Another side you need to know. CCP the force take down American. All this is the force in the American, not in the China. That's why it's the one thing magazine, Nature magazine, is the only hope. Is the CCP is blaming America. That's crazy. No justice.
How do you force the CCP? I've recommended give them 72 hours to allow an international consortium to come in of the top scientists throughout the entire world. WHO can be part of it, but they can't lead it because of all the questions. You have to have from India, Africa, Latin America, the United States, Europe, just the best of the best. Virologists and epidemiologists have to go in to get full access. In 72 hours, or you cut them off, you totally decouple. You cut them off from U.S. dollars and sanction their banks immediately because we need to get to the bottom of this. Do you see any other way to force their hands? You're saying they will never voluntarily do this. Is there any other way to force our way in there?
Sir, I say again. Don't forget, American every week is died people is 1/11. America only one. Now easy. American president and Pompeo sent a red note to Wuhan P4, Hong Kong P3, the lab. All the professor, I give you 1 week, must be corporates give us asset. We need to know what is happening.
You would say don't go to the government. You say put a red notice, essentially what the Interpol does. You say give a red notice to the individuals at Wuhan and saying you have a week individually come forward or you're in trouble.
Why not? This is the guy, it's the iceberg, is studied before in America, MIT, Stanford. You must be.
You're saying they're all trained in the West.
Yeah, all trained in the West. Also, American people every die. This is the action one. Action two, easy. Give the CCP. I give you 72 hours, maybe too long, maybe 50 hours. I give you open asset. You don't want asset, I immediately decouple. Decouple, no choice. And Hong Kong, everything decouple all the Europe, you American allied. That's the second. Three, very important. In America, how many CCP assets here? How much money?
Hundreds of billions of dollars. Of the
100 billion?
Hundreds of billions.
Trillions of dollars here. Immediately out fix it. Even you give it the
You would seize all the assets of the senior leadership of the Chinese Communist Party immediately today.
Yeah.
And you say it's over $1 trillion of assets.
You know, CCP saying we're in the your home. No, say yes, in my home, I have your asset. I need to fix it.
Would people be?
Would
the American people be stunned about the amount of holdings that senior cadre members of the CCP hold in the United States of America, as far as real estate, stocks, bonds, etc.?
If you are a real American, you must be do this. Only get BGY have the perfect form of the CCP. You don't want to do this. If you are real American, you immediately.
You're saying you must seize their assets.
Yeah, that's what this. You are must be. Don't get more regrets. Give yourself again. You no more time now.
Before we're going to pivot to the flub, I want to ask one thing that we've talked about over the last couple of years. When people in the United States think of wealth, they think of the Saudi royal family, UAE, Kuwait, Bahrain, the Gulf Emirates. You're saying that's all small potatoes. The wealthiest, most powerful people in the world are the handful of families that control the Chinese Communist Party, and their wealth dwarfs all other individual wealth in the world.
2001, you get cheated American get the WTO and the Olympic Games. It's before 1.3 trillion totally GDP, and until the last year it's 14 trillion. Everything is stolen. CCP not rich, wealthy country. It's a #1 stolen American dollar, Europe as the stolen, not a big university. That's why America need to know. You don't find out the truth. You day by day more people die. Also you lose the money. You have new coronavirus coming here. I don't think this is the only now, COVID-19 CCP virus. I think they have a solution. Give you more the new virus. They want to take down Trump president, take down American economy, take down kill American people. You only one way. immediately action gave me answer. Now the truth, what is happened? This is fundamental the reason.
Your point is that, hey, they've had a good run now. Look how they brought America to its knees. It's ruined the economy. It's messed up American culture. Now kids are not even going back to school. We're at each other's throats. From their perspective, that's a success. Be prepared to have others, if they view this as a success, unless you start playing hardball. Principle of that would be take their assets. Okay, we have limited time. I got to get to other topics. You were also the first guy, so many times you've told me things to think about. You also, over a month ago, said, hey, pay attention to this flood at the Three Gorges Dam. What's happening in the Himalayas, these rains are early, and they're coming in a level of power that has not been seen before. And also the dam system was put together by the CCP. It was all crap construction. Money was all stolen. And the fact that I didn't even realize they don't really care about the people. You're not going to see the PLA down there. You're not going to see flood control.
Sir, hold on, sir. The Three Gorges Dam, they built this one, everything is defense, the forest. They are only one reason make it a power station. CCP can get money. This can get money. They never think that the real seriously can defense the forest. No. That's why same thing. They think, even you die, it's broken Three Gorges Dam, that's nature. I cannot touch. But normally time, you need to appreciate me. I hope you defend the forest. That's a totally bullshit.
Hang on.
Flooding, right?
You're saying when they built Three Gorges, the only thing they cared about was the hydroelectric power and the money they can make out of that. Whether the flood control, etc., that's, hey, if it happened, that's a natural problem.
Yeah. So before the forest, you see, the forest, because no flood, because I abandoned for you. But this fundamental reason is to build this one for power station, earn the money. Even though forest coming,
guys, 1 minute.
That's the CCP lie.
Jack, I want to pitch it back to you, and we come back. I want to get more into the details of the flood and some of the videos you have to show the audience, because we've been talking about this for weeks. It's only getting worse for the Chinese people, and eventually it's going to impact the United States of America. Back to you, Jack.
Absolutely, people. This flood in the Yangtze is almost as important as the pandemic in terms of what it could do to our supply chains. 80% of the chemicals and APIs for pharmaceuticals built along that floodplain. Honda Motors, for example, makes 1.5 million cars a year in Wuhan. This is serious, people. We will be back. As always, we are praying for the old 100 names, that they overcome the difficulties as they always have throughout history. China, we love you. Back in a minute.
Brett Favre, legendary quarterback. Jerry Rice, legendary wide receiver.
You ready for your weekly meeting?
Yeah, we're ready.
Let's do this. Let's stack the deck.
When legends play, they wear Copperfit Advanced Back Pro. Copperfit's best-selling compression back support just got better with new double-band adjustable supports for customizable compression when you need it most.
Since I put this on, I feel so much better. The core is the most important thing. To know that I'm stabilized here. Whatever I'm doing, I can give it 100%.
4 built-in stabilizing supports designed to improve posture and help reduce lower back stress and strain.
You have back pain, and it's affecting your everyday life. You do something. If you can find something to help you get back out and be active, like Copperfit, go for it. Absolutely. Do not give up.
A high-performance compression fabric infused with the powerful properties of copper, 360-degree flexible mobility, and lightweight, durable construction.
Nothing more painful than having back pains. If you're aching, if you feel like you can't work out anymore, you can. And that's with Copperfit.
It's for all of us who still want to be active, still want to compete.
Way to go. That's what I'm talking about. Man, this really does feel good. It feels to me like the fountain of youth.
Copperfit's best-selling back support just got bigger, badder, and better. Or call 1-800-944-5851. Or on the web at advancedbackpro.com. Get yours now for only $19.99.
This does feel good.
That's what I've been saying.
You think it was fair?
It was fun.
Play for the love of the game.
Copperfit, live limitless.
This is Kate.
Hey.
She takes 2 prescriptions. Kate's son Jack takes one too. Kate works hard and thought she had good insurance. But she still pays too much. That's no good. So Kate downloaded the GoodRx app. Now she can compare prescription prices to find the best discounts. She even beats her insurance price. Good for you, Kate. Good for you. GoodRx. Stop paying too much for your prescriptions. Download the free app today.
My son needs this drug. I hope it doesn't cost too much. I hope my insurance pays for it. Can you tell me how much this will be?
67.
Sorry. Wait, have you heard about GoodRx?
GoodRx finds free coupons to help you save up to 80% on your prescriptions.
Wow. I had no idea.
GoodRx. Stop paying too much for your prescriptions.
War Room with Stephen K. Bannon. Here's your host, Stephen K. Bannon.
It's Jack Maxey in the War Room. We've got Stephen K. Bannon, Miles Guo on standby. This is another one of our Saturday episodes where we dig deep into China. This one's called The Plague, the Flood, the People. And I'm going to play a video here for you in a moment because one of the things that's been coming out of China is this idea that there's no problem, right? You can go and do a Google search on the Yangtze flood, Wuhan flood, etc. Look for yourself. There's virtually a news blackout on this. And one of the things that they've been saying is 10 days ago, they said there were 140 missing or dead because of the floods. Yesterday, they announced that it's gone up to 150. Now, if we could roll this video, Barge on the Bridge, I think it'll give people a visual idea of the devastation that is occurring there. Tragic beyond belief, not for the squeamish, but let's roll Barge on the Bridge. And here you see it is hitting the base. You see all those people on the right-hand side. I don't see anybody coming to save them. And more importantly, you're not seeing this in the Chinese media. There is a blackout on anything bad that is occurring. One of the things that you're seeing in the WeChat rooms is a lot of complaints lately about the fact that the Chinese media has sort of treated this like it's some sort of just summertime story and there's nothing bad. It's just good PLA members fixing dikes and things like that. But as you can see from this video, Chinese people are suffering and dying right now, and they are not even revealing this information to their people. One thing I would love to we're going to talk to Miles about here in a minute, are these releases of water that are coming out from the Three Gorges Dam, which are purported to be coming out at nighttime with no warning for the people downstream. So, guys, back to you, Steve and Miles. This is really a horrific scene that we're watching.
Make sure that you go to the site and see this. It's almost beyond description. It's so rudimentary and primitive. You've got a barge with all these people on it, and it's literally out of control because the power of the river gets cut into by a bridge, and it looks like all the people drown. One of the reasons we wanted to have this up there is a couple reasons. Number one, the Chinese Communist Party saying, oh, it's 140 people have died total. It's like the 3,000 that died in Wuhan. Just they put these lies out, and the Western media won't cover this story at all. It's just now being picked up by the New York Times and the Washington Post, the Wall Street Journal. The other thing is about how people in China are now starting to get through the firewall and start to do it. Remember, what did we talk about at the beginning of the pandemic? The great hero of Wuhan, that doctor that in the WeChat thing was telling the truth, saying, hey, there's a community spread and human-to-human transmission in Wuhan that's going on. Remember, the CCP held him up on charges, put him in jail. It was only after a public outcry. You're seeing the exact same thing now in WeChat, which, by the way, is monitored closely by the Chinese Communist Party. That's how they got the doctor, but that's what people need to do. I think, Miles, one of the great powers of G News and GTV is that if you want to see these clips, there's clips up there nonstop that people can see what's going on in Wuhan and now on the Yangtze River Valley with this horrific flood. Back to Jack's point, you had mentioned, you've shown us, and Jack, I want to try to get the production team to get the elevation thing up when we can, but you showed me an elevation that really comes from the Himalayas all the way down to Three Gorges. What can the audience expect? You mentioned the other day, the bad flooding hasn't even gotten here. The bad flooding is going to be from mid-July to about the 21st of August. What should people anticipate of what's going to happen at Three Gorges Dam in the Yangtze River over the next month?
Sir, we watched the video. You think this is disaster, right? This real there is even worse. Okay, so you look at telling you here Himalaya.
Yep.
To here is the Wuhan, 6,000 meters, 60 million square foot high. Three Gorges down here. Here to here is the 13,000 Gorges dam. Only they want to build power station. And here to here, the far is 3,400 km, right?
Yes.
Not miles, km. This area have 3 nuclear power stations.
3 nuclear power stations.
Nuclear station. Also here is the PLA, is called Missile Defense. It's the 5 army base.
Do you think the nuclear reactors, the nuclear power stations, could be in jeopardy?
Huge. This is broken as the flood even worse. Really happen. Kill Chinese, not is the water. Kill Chinese and kill the Asia people, Korea, and North Korea and Japan, is a form of the nuclear vision.
You're saying a Chernobyl type incident.
Yeah, definitely. Another side, sir, is very important. Himalaya come here, the water. All the Asia, 80%, 70% of clean water from here.
Yes.
They are new clean, is the foundation, is it even happen? Pollution all the Asia.
You're saying the pollution is going to go all over Asia.
This is a disaster. This one, another side, sir, you need to know. You look at the people die, you look at this. They cover any truth. That's why America helped the CCP build a firewall. You one day must be get a trial. God and you hand. American big tycoon technology company, you are the hand, all the hand is the blood.
You're saying that there's blood on the hands of the technology companies that keep the firewall.
Only you and me, GTV, G News, we can, and the war room can talk the word, provide. It is directly new video, new truth. Why American cannot know the truth? Why American cannot get all the data? Because built a firewall and minority control by Wall Street money. That's the criminal. So, sir, I always say again, all the American, the Corona CCP virus, and China, the Florida disaster, is by Wall Street American tycoon company behind the control. This is the reason in America, in here, not in China.
We've created the Frankenstein monster. One last thing I want to get to before we leave the flood and talk about the new federal state is I notice I haven't seen, when I see these videos, it's very primitive how the people are trying to either push up or support the levees, or how they're escaping on these barges. I don't see a lot of people from the People's Liberation Army. Has the CCP deployed troops? Have they deployed stability forces? Have they deployed resources and assets to these cities to help the citizens as these massive floods are coming?
Sir, maybe all the American people, Americans are really kind people. Here have religion. CCP no religion. They think a die is good. How can see 多难兴邦怎么说了多难兴they think disaster burn has priority. This is CCP offer disaster burn has priority. That's their philosophy. You think the die people 100 million?
You're saying that they have less mouths to feed. So if they lose 100 million people, they lose 100 million people.
Lose 100. No, they look at 100 million. The country is more stronger, and food, don't worry too much food. They don't care. Day one, they build 3 Gorges dam, another 13,000 dam, just for the get power station, energy. They never think you are for the die. They don't care. Even die can make my regime more bigger. That's why they are cover all the data, cover all the truth by your created evil, firewall system. That's totally the truth. But Americans, you are very kind religion. You never believe that the evil can do this, but this is real. That's true.
Well, I got to tell you, some of the videos you've seen are absolutely heart-rendering. So we're going to stay on this in the coming days and weeks ahead. Jack, I'd like to put up now, I know we got a few minutes in this segment and a few minutes in the next segment. I'd like to put up the videos now of the new federal state, these kind of spontaneous protests that are happening, particularly about the Houston consulate. Miles, you're one of the co-founders of the new federal state. Did you know that these protests are going to take place, or are they just spontaneous, or what's happening? Because we're getting great videos now from throughout the country of the people out in the streets waving the flag, saying the CCP's got to go, really protesting the CCP. It started in Washington, D.C. at the embassy. It started at Washington, D.C. at the White House, and now it's spread throughout the country. What's happening here?
Yes, sir. First of all, I want to say in the Houston, all the we are friends, brother, sister is really proud of they go to there. A few hours ago, I never know they go there. I never know. You and me, we built a new federal state. We are unite all in the world, real good Chinese, together. They are, it's a fight back to CCP, take down CCP. They want the West world, American West world, more the truth about the CCP, the evil, this is the criminal group. Then this is why they go to Houston. All the people I think is American citizen. They know we are not the CCP. CCP is the evil. They like American decision. President Trump and Pompeo take down the consulate. The consulate in America, this is not big. Big one, New York.
Hey guys, we're coming up on a break here.
Why don't you take us out, Jack? We're going to come back here and talk about the difference in the Houston consulate and the New York, which Miles says the New York's 10 times worse.
Hey, listen, what I want to tell you guys, it is just an inspiration for me because I've been with some of these protesters on the street. They're putting themselves at risk, their families back in China, but they're not giving up. And I don't want you to give up either because freedom is worth it.
Stay tuned to get a free pan from Granite Stone. Stuck on eggs, burnt on batter. You can scrub and scrape, but you can't escape the nightmare of your sticky pans. Introducing the Granite Stone Pan, the all-new durable non-stick pan. No butter or oil needed. Watch, we melted down these sticky candies in Granite Stone, and it just doesn't stick. We cooked a half a dozen eggs, bacon, cheese, and tomato breakfast with no butter or oil, and it just doesn't stick. Look, caramels, chocolate, and cheese. Unreal for any other pan, but not for Granite Stone. It just doesn't stick. Granite Stone will be the last pan you'll ever need because it's pressed from a solid aluminum disc for even heat conduction, then coated 3 times with our durable Granite Stone finish. Granite Stone is metal utensil safe and won't scratch. And talk about non-stick. This salmon cooked skin side down with no added butter or oil just doesn't stick. This steak is perfectly seared just like the pros. And because Granite Stone is oven rated to 500 degrees, we bake this upside down pan pizza to perfection, and it just doesn't stick. Fire Flambe Delicious Cherries Jubilee. Plus it's PFOA free and 100% dishwasher safe. Call or go online to get your Granite Stone pan for the special TV discount price of just $19.99. Granite Stone is so durable it comes with a 10-year warranty. And with every order, you're going to get a Granite Stone single-serve egg pan absolutely free. It's the perfect size for personalized eggs, omelets, or frittatas that slide right out. It makes the best bacon, egg, and cheese sandwich quick. Yours absolutely free. We'll even ship your entire order free. That's right, free shipping. You get it all, an incredible value. Here's how to order.
To order, call 1-800-850-0237. That's 1-800-850-0237, or order online at buygranitestone.com. That's 1-800-850-0237. Call now.
America's Voice News brings you real news and real opinion in a real world. If you care about this country, then you can help by sharing America's Voice with your friends and family. We're here to bring you the truth with no agendas. America is one of the greatest countries of all time. We need a great leader to keep us on track and safe. If you support this president, then help us by being a beacon of hope and standing up for this great nation. Join us as we fight to bring you the truth in a crazy world. Search America's Voice News on all apps, Roku, Pluto TV,
and Dish Network Channel 219. Please help by downloading America's Voice News to your phone, on your smart TV. Search America's Voice on all your internet-connected devices. Then share the truth with your friends and family. America's Voice News, the real news network. Join the America's Voice revolution and consider yourself an American patriot.
War Room with Stephen K. Bannon. Here's your host, Stephen K. Bannon.
This is Jack Maxey sitting in the War Room on Capitol Hill, episode 300. This is the last segment today, guys. We could talk about this all day long. Steve, there's some interesting news that just came out in the Global Times last night. Apparently, they gave permission, in quotation marks, to close an HSBC branch, a very large branch, looks like a office building in Shenzhen. And they give as the rationale, I found very interesting, they said the announcement was dated July 17th, but published on Friday, came as more evidence emerged about how the lender was involved in a scheme devised by the U.S. to fabricate evidence and maliciously frame Huawei Chief Financial Officer Meng Wanzhou. It says that the bank, which generates almost 80% of its profits, has drawn a lot of heat and public anger in China due to its role in Meng's illegal arrest. So it looks to me like they have may end up cutting their financial rope on their own.
I just got to, since it's news, I got to talk to Miles about this. I'm going to come back to you in a second about the protests of the new federal state. Huawei, just to make it clear to the American people, there's been a lot of controversy, and the CCP is trying to spin it. Huawei is inextricably linked with the PLA as their technology arm, correct?
Yeah, it's PLA. Huawei is PLA. This is for sure, sir. Yeah, no doubt.
So in all you've said from day one, if you're a significant tech company in China, right, you basically got that tech by stealing it from the United States or forcing it from the United States, but that you're somehow either part of the CCP, PLA, state security, somehow you're involved with the Chinese government. There are no independent actors on the technology side in China.
Zero chance. Impossible. CCP is control China everything, definitely including technology. Even in America, before you see the Houston, it's that this consulate is the
spy center.
Spy center. This is too small to do. I love the story about this, New York consulate.
You think New York is worse?
I have a lot. It's the 35 times bigger than Houston, the size, right? These people bigger than 50 times in the Houston. It's I hearing is before the president, Hu Jintao, also deputy president, we are together. You see, we are in America, have two big weapons. One is the New York consulate. Second is the Los Angeles consulate. This is called the two. You're
saying L.A. and New York.
LA and New York. So one time I have the, very big need, have big, I defense Beijing's Deputy Mayor. This is a big case, this. I want to, you hope I find out some of the information because I get corruption. He say, what do you want? I say, American consulate help. I say, take the phone, one phone call. They say, 18 hours, everything is starting to hear. This is the New York. This is the big basement is a spy. I don't know why American never touched this area. Falashan, this is all the Chinese. Chinatown, Falashan, and the Queens area.
All the
Chinatown. There is also spy the base. CCP want full control there. You go to Chinatown, New York, and Chinatown is Falashan. You same go back to Stone Time. Totally different American world. It's 30 years here, never go to Manhattan, just cross the street. They are always use China's phone number. They don't use American phone number. Also, they are eat food, clothes, everything from China. Every China leader come here, red flag, world come leader come here. That's the
total CCP
in the your country, and that is built one country. They do what? They never do profit give you. They never think, contribution give you. They work at the CCP. American need to clean you off the room. In your room, too much poison is a schedule. Schedules. You need to clean your room first and take down the firewall and decap. Only one this action quickly can solve American any problem. That's why you are stunning. It's the takedown. It's the Houston conflict. That's a so good job. I hope quickly action more New York, Los Angeles, Flushing, Chinatown, and DC. Why? They not is a representative country. They form the criminal group. They kill America in your home. Do you see any country come your country kill you every day 10,000, 1,000 people? Never. This is why Americans don't think about that's a country relationship. No, you are the criminal group here. You need to clean your home now.
I just want to reiterate, Miles is saying you got to decouple the economy immediately, and on technology you have to do it. You got to bring down the firewall, and you'll see an alternative to the CCP. Jack, you saw it up close and personal. That's the whole powerful thing I think about the new federal state, why I'm so proud to be associated with this new not-for-profit organization is trying to offer an alternative to the CCP. Jack, you saw it in 95-degree heat, in 90% humidity when they did their first protest outside the Chinese embassy and then outside the White House. Can you tell folks what the folks associated with the new federal state are like?
Well, you know what? It's just a wonderful group of people. I was very moved. They would tell you stories for obvious reasons. They didn't want to tell all the stories on camera. Many of them still have families back in China that they recognize are in danger, perhaps even because of some of the activities that these brave American citizens and Chinese immigrants are doing here by protesting the CCP. Steve, it was very humbling, and particularly what really humbled me was the great thanks that many of them came up and thanked me personally and wanted to send you thanks and said that we mean so much to the people inside China. And for me, that really moved me, touched my heart, because every day I find inspiration by the Chinese people and the Hong Kong protesters. To me, they are just a great exercise in why freedom and liberty are so important. So that, to me, I can't, it was very important to me. I can't say much more about it.
Hey, I want Vish and the crew to tee up the Mike Pompeo, the last clip, or the clip we had where he actually said, God bless the Chinese people, God bless the American people. We'll play in a second. I just want to ask Miles, I know we only got a couple of minutes left. I thought that was an incredibly moving end to his speech yesterday, given how historic that speech is and how people are going to talk about it. At the end of the speech, he said,
Steve.
God bless the Chinese people, God bless the American people, and God bless America. Can we play it? Fish, can we go and play that clip?
It was founded on the premise that all human beings possess certain rights that are unalienable, and it's our government's job to secure those rights. It is a simple and powerful truth. It's made us a beacon of freedom for people all around the world, including people inside of China. Indeed, Richard Nixon was right when he wrote in 1967 that the world cannot be safe until China changes. Now it's up to us to heed his words. Today, the danger is clear, and today the awakening is happening. Today, the free world must respond. We can never go back to the past. May God bless each of you. May God bless the Chinese people. And may God bless the people of the United States of America. Thank you all.